Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Don't crash your car while listening to this, though.
It's one of those songs that never gets old, such a throwback. But welcome to our AfterBuzz show for the new NBC comedy, A to Z. Of course, it is episode 1 of season 1. It is the pilot. And it's called A is for Acquaintances. And so I'm excited to see if that trend continues, if we'll get B as the season moves forward. But I'm Stephanie Wenger, and joining me...
I'm Kanika Lal, my first show, so I'm very excited to be here, guys.
Welcome, Kanika.
Thank you.
And my name is Kylie Hodges. I'm so pumped to be here tonight. This is going to be a good season.
A really cute show. We all are kind of amazed at kind of how far it went in the pilot. I was really thought it was an adorable start. Sometimes shows take a minute to gear up, and this one, I'm in already.
Definitely. I mean, I love the fact that it has a modern twist to it. I mean, the heart and soul, I think, is like the fairy tale romance, the whole destiny idea. But they twist it up with the social media aspect, you know, Facebook, Twitter. So I like that, you know, balance of both.
Yeah,
definitely.
and I was talking to you guys about this before. I love How I Met Your Mother, and this one rings so similar to How I Met Your Mother for me, with that like omniscient voice that you never see. And then I also was telling you, I think it seems a lot like 500 Days of Summer, and you know, it's got this countdown, and like this is a story with a definitive ending, and I think that's a really interesting way to start it.
What I love, though, is that on How I Met Your Mother, we always knew the ending. We knew that it was going to be he met the mother, and they did kind of put a plot twist in at the end. I don't want to ruin that for anyone who hasn't seen How I Met Your Mother yet. But that being said, this show, we know that they date for, is it 8 months?
8 months, 3 weeks, 5 days, 1 hour.
Right. So, but we don't know what happens at the end of that. Does that mean they're engaged? Did they break up? Where is this going?
It's for married. They could have gotten married too. Who
Yeah.
knows, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah.
I just assumed it was they will be done with each other after that 8 months.
Yeah, because, I mean, you can finish dating and then be engaged or married or what have you. We don't know where it's going to take them. And I think that that's a really exciting place to be, because How I Met Your Mother, I think there was always that kind of, well, when are we going to meet the mother? I think that that was the question the cast got the most. It's like what everyone wanted to know who watched that program. And this, I think the question's going to be, well, are they going to have that happy ending?
Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of like just when Ted meets the mother. This is the pilot of it, you know. So now we're just gonna see what happens next. So.
And to go back to what you were saying, I love also that it really does have that modern thing of dating sites, and I feel like I know people in my office park. Like, it's very relatable to 20-somethings. I feel like this universe is something that we can all agree and understand. Also, I have to give a shout out. We are taping here in LA, and so many LA like moments. I was like, that's in Santa Monica, that's in Los Feliz, got it. And so if you're familiar with this area, hopefully you enjoyed that aspect of it as well. But let's jump in here to getting into the characters first of all. So Andrew, we see him first in his car singing along to what we started with in the Celine Dion song, My Heart Will Go On.
I think everybody drives in their car listening to that song, belting it, and probably crying a little.
I mean, I feel like it's a good one, especially if you need to cry. That's
a good cry.
Song. Yeah, it's a good one to go
Her
to.
and Adele. Celine and Adele both get you.
Oh, yeah.
But she does have those similarities to that Ted Mosby, the romantic comedy lead. Ben Feldman does it.
Hopeless.
The soft guy.
Hopeless.
Yeah.
We all want to be that kind of guy, don't we?
Yeah.
Who has a soft side to him, so
Yeah,
that's cute.
Exactly. And I think Ben Feldman, I'm excited to see him. Of course, he's been on Mad Men. I'm excited to see him in this role. It feels different for him and something kind of cute and exciting. I don't know.
Adorable.
Yeah.
He was also
adorable.
Fred on Drop Dead Diva, if you guys remember.
Oh,
he was the
yeah.
guardian angel to Deb. That's
good-
where I first liked him. He was definitely...
That's a good shout out
Yeah.
to him. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I just love that character so much. And then I feel like a perfect balance is, of course, Zelda, who was on How I Met Your Mother, played the mother, and Kirsten Milioti. I hope I'm saying her last name properly. Correct me if I'm wrong, Twitter universe.
right, sounds
yeah. So what do we think of her? Do you think that she's gonna fall for Ben in the end? Where's your head at? Do you think, or do you think there's gonna be too many obstacles for her?
Are you asking about at the end of the 8 months?
Yeah, I think so. I know it's a bold, or should we wait for predictions?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's wait for predictions.
Okay.
Because I feel like, there's
Yeah.
a whole show to go.
Yeah, I mean, her personality definitely is like, I'm strong. It's like black and white. Whereas Andrew's more like it's in the gray. So I feel like she might, they're going to be in love, but she might have like second thoughts. She might have doubts because she seems like that type of person. It might take her a little while for her, maybe, we're talking about predictions, but her personality, I think is like strong she's a lawyer.
She's a little more, I guess, like cut and dry than Andrew is.
Yeah.
He feels like a little more artistic, a little more something, and she's like, I'm a lawyer. I see the world in black and white.
I think both of their personalities are ones that are going to have to be broken down by the other in order to mold, to make the A and the Z fit together.
That's a good
because
point.
he's like relentless and like a little ridiculous, and she's kind of cold.
Well, I saw you cringing a bit. We'll get into this in a few minutes, but
I'm very
didn't see
emotional
that.
when I watch TV, so you can hear me talking to the TV.
no, I love it. I'm all about that. So it was hilarious though, because there's a scene where he's trying to convince her that they're meant to be, and you literally said stop at one point. Yeah.
Yep, I was yelling at the TV.
And then we should also introduce their sidekicks. What is a romantic comedy without your wingwomen? So Steffi and Stu, it's easy, S's.
Yeah.
I love the Steffi character. I think we all have girlfriends who do this, who like become a different person with the person they date.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, yeah.
like, I have many friends who do this, and you're like, wait, you didn't like that. That's not, no, okay.
Right.
Yeah, you weren't into that sport until you coincidentally met that guy.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that there's a lot of different directions they can kind of go with that. And I hope that it kind of becomes a Neil Patrick Harris, that it's like a revolving door of guys and how it affects her friendship and who she is.
Yeah.
But it's so, what are the odds that she runs into Stu? And they happen to be friends and roommates and colleagues, all these four people, the four main characters.
Absolutely.
Crazy.
I love that they met Stewie and Steph. We'll get into their subplot here in a second, but they met at a Tustin. I think that was like a Tustin.
Burlington Coat Factory.
Right. And I was just like, oh, in Tustin.
Oh.
Of course that's of course where you would meet someone.
I'm not searching for men at a Burlington Coat Factory, that's for sure.
That's not generally the place I go for that, but you know, you never know. It's true. It's a good point. So let's jump into how Zelda and Andrew meet. I thought this was really cute. So Andrew, of course, works at a dating site, and she comes in because she was unsuccessful using the dating site. The algorithm was off. So he immediately falls for her. Like, you can see it in his eyes. It's that moment, not to keep comparing it to How I Met Your Mother, but when Ted looks across the room at Robin and realizes, like, oh, that's the one for me. So I thought it was really just like one of those moments where you're like, oh, okay, that they are meant to be. I hope they are meant to be in the end. But yeah, I really enjoyed that.
I thought it was very funny how, if I had a horrible wingman like Stu, who was causing a scene and trying to give just the most horrific pickup lines to attract a girl when she's 5 feet away from you so she can hear the entire conversation going on, I think if I were him, I would have been... He's just a nervous wreck all the time, I'm realizing. But if I were him, I would have been a little more like, sorry, that guy's ridiculous. I'm not like that. Because at least that would have given Zelda a reason to, like, be more inclined to talk to him and not be so weirded out. But it fits to his character to be uncomfortable and awkward.
I wrote down the line, Stu says, like, in A Way to Pick Up a Girl, "Are you a library book?
Oh.
I want to check you out."
I have heard that line, no joke, before, and it makes me want to vomit.
There's so many of those
I thought you were going to say, "Oh, yeah, I've had it used on me." I was like, "Oh, okay, that is
not on me," but I've heard boys be like, "Oh, yeah, I've used that line." I'm like, why? What girl falls for that? Or like the polar bear one.
Oh.
Are you a polar bear? Because I'm breaking the ice.
I like that.
Anything that's a line, I just think is tacky and shouldn't be used.
I mean,
just be yourself.
Did it hurt when you fell from heaven?
I
think I would fall for these. So
See,
I'm soft.
The library.
The library one's like, okay, that's a little bit too overused, a little bit too cheesy. But
Yeah. But I was just like, oh, but from, I think that was one of his first scenes, and you know exactly who this guy is.
True.
Yeah, and so what a great way. I feel like pilots, it's sometimes difficult to know who these characters are, especially in a half-hour comedy.
Yeah.
And they did a great job. I feel like I know these 4 characters. I'm excited for the next episode. And I think that is rough sometimes. Pilots, you see it and you're like, well, that was funny, but do I really want to tune in every week? And I'm in for this for sure. So Stu, and then so this is kind of how they meet, and he goes after her, realizes she left through another exit after her interview, and
Can I stop you there?
yes.
Do you think because she seemed a little irritated when Andrew took her the long route
Yes.
to get to the lab that she was a little irritated and purposely exited the other way
That's a good question.
to avoid him? She seems like, when I saw that happen, I thought, oh, she's avoiding him.
See, I thought, oh, she's a lawyer. She's using the most efficient way out.
That's what I thought too. She's running quickly for a meeting or something. But do we actually know how the meeting went?
No, we do not.
I wonder why they didn't tell us.
I don't know, but we did. I forgot to mention that their boss is called Big Bird.
Yes.
It's quite tough.
Who's literally doesn't believe that you should find your true soulmate on her dating site.
Doesn't pay the bills.
Yeah.
If everyone falls in love, they're going to delete their subscription.
Yep.
It's a valid point.
It makes you
it's a
think, is that how the
business.
Tinder CEO is? What if they're thinking the exact same thing, you know?
So,
Maybe that's why all these dating apps are so popular. They quit one and join another.
I mean, I know girls who have like 10 of them on their phone.
I know boys who have 10 of them.
Yeah. But Wallflower, I also have to say I appreciate the name of that as a dating site. Yeah. Like,
It's funny.
yeah, I was just like, oh, that actually fits. That's hilarious. It's all these little details, and I'm sure all of you will notice more of them. So definitely tweet at us, and YouTube, you can always rate and comment on our shows. We love hearing from you. I know for all my other shows, we are big on commenting back as well, and I'm sure we will be for this one as well. Definitely.
Yeah, we love feedback. I live tweet shows sometimes, and I respond to all YouTube comments. And if you guys download us on iTunes, if you loved this after show, which we hope you do, give us 5 stars. And if you think we have work to do, give us 4, and then comment and tell us what's happening, and we'd love to make this better for you.
Yeah, and we definitely always want your feedback and what we can do to make it a little better, a little more fun.
It's all for you guys.
That being said, let's continue on and get into this. How I love the conversations between the 2 offices. I think those are some of my favorite scenes where she's in her office and then looking down. It looks like looking down if I'm not.
She's
wrong.
looking down on him. She's
So
higher
cute.
up.
Yeah, exactly. And
Good for a woman.
yeah.
You go, girl.
Yeah, exactly. So what do we think about? I just thought that they were so cute, and that so he calls her, or she calls him when she realizes that they're across the office park.
I thought of myself in his situation, and I would have never been productive at work from that moment on. When I realized that she could be watching me, I would. Because when I'm in the zone, like, I look weird, I'm like, you know, my posture's weird, or like maybe I have weird mannerisms, and if I'm aware that someone I have a crush on could be watching me 8-10 hours a day,
Yeah, if I'm eating my lunch, I don't want to slobber all over myself. Like, I'm going to be aware of every single situation I do. So, yeah, that's a good point.
It's so true. Actually, a friend of mine in college, she lived in dorms that were right next to each other, and you could post like your phone number or whatever, and she met a guy who was across the other dorm from her, and they would like put up conversations, and she's like, it took us like 2 months to actually meet in the dining hall.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's adorable, actually.
It's really cute.
So
but she was like, I always thought, is he watching me? And I was like, it's really a very
creepy and cute.
Yeah.
It's creepy and cute. So recommended, sort of. Maybe, maybe text a little faster and actually meet up. It would be the.
I can't appreciate, though, how aggressive Zelda is. I myself am very aggressive.
Yeah.
Every guy I've ever dated has started off with me introducing myself and getting things going. That's just the way I am. And I like that there's other women being shown on TV who aren't like the, oh, little me, you want to ask for my number? Like, she's the driving force here.
It is, yeah, I agree. I like the strong female characters. It's something that we're seeing more and more of. And I think that that's a great transition in TV, because for so long they were the wife or the girlfriend to whoever, and I think to see somebody in this show is definitely an example of that equal footing of two leads, guy, girl, and they both have kind of weaknesses and strengths, and we already see that in the pilot.
Yes.
Yeah, and even her as an actress, Kristen Milioti herself, I think she does such a good job of showing like a very cold upfront, like very tough, but then you also see that soft side in her. So I think she does a good job of balancing both of that. You know, not many people can pull that off.
Yeah,
you know
she
what I mean?
doesn't look, she has such a interesting face too. She looks so young, and like she looks like a tiny person, but she has really big eyes, and like you don't expect somebody, she has like this really big, like pretty eyes, but you don't expect somebody to look like the character she plays. Or you don't expect her to look like the character she plays.
No, I feel like
great.
you would expect someone, even in the way they dress her, it's not as quite as button up as you. I feel like sometimes they would have gone for that cliche. And,
exactly, it's not a cliche.
And the wardrobe, people would be like, oh, she needs to be in the buttoned up, like full on, like
she needs to be frumpy, have frumpy hair, cold facial expressions, no makeup.
Yeah, and she's adorable.
Yeah.
Like, and really, like, again, relatable. That relatable character, but still showing strength and all those things you were mentioning. And I agree, that's an amazing quality and something to be excited about.
Well, I think we're all on Team Zelda all this time.
I know. I know. Woo, Team Zelda. I feel like with my other shows, we'll get teams and it'll be really fun and debate things all the time. That being said, the Steffi and Stu storyline made me giggle.
I know.
So he met her at a Burlington coat factory, told her he was a jazz player, a jazz trumpeter.
Yeah, and she
actually bought a trumpet.
Yeah.
Like,
but he never gave her his info or anything, right? Like they never went on a date or anything?
I don't think so. I don't remember that being any.
So he just lied to her about who he was, and then she saw him and found out he's not who he said he was, and that's why she was so pissed?
Yeah, I think so.
She really liked him, I guess. Like every single guy she dates,
and
falls
she's
for
invested.
Them. Yeah,
he also mentioned, I think, that he was going to go to, I want to say Paris, away to do whatever job it was. And she was like, why are you here? Why are you in this office park? And so I think that also upset her in addition
to lied to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting.
But should we, I mean, that's just such a side storyline, and I feel like we haven't seen the end of it, though.
Nope.
Like,
no,
I think they're going to.
They'll probably have something going on.
Yeah.
There's definitely probably going to be a hookup.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, something.
Has to be.
Something's there. I feel like that is not the end of that storyline. We are not going to see people just being like, "Oh, that's great." No, it's there's going to be drama.
That's not how TV works.
No. And I'm excited with this show. When I say the word drama, I think of this with How I Met Your Mother and a few of other shows like this. You see episodes that are more dramatic and more comedic, and I feel like this show is definitely leading down that path. I think there's going to be episodes that are so hilarious and will come in here and have the most amazing lines written down, and then other ones where you kind of are like, oh, they took a dramatic turn. They want you to feel for these characters and kind of go through those, such a cliche, A to Z of emotion.
That's good.
Yeah.
They said it in the intro.
Yeah, it's so true. But so I hope that we kind of see those ups and downs, and I know that's what they're kind of promoting the show as. And we should mention that the voice is, of course, Katie Siegel.
Yes,
Seagal.
yes. And I wonder if we're gonna see her, if there's a reason, like, who is the narrator? Is this just some omniscient voice?
Maybe she pops up, like in the coffee shop or like in the office.
Like in How I Met Your Mother, it's Ted Mosby 20 years down the line.
Yeah.
And it was played
narrating.
by Bob Saget.
Good old,
None other
good old
than
Bob.
Yeah,
Saget.
so I don't know if it's just like she has a great voice.
She does. She's a fantastic
Yeah.
narrator.
So I'm wondering if that's the reason. Is it that she just has a great voice? Bob Saget, also a great voice.
Good
So, I mean, Full House fan. But regardless of that, I just think that, yeah, he did a great job, and she is doing, I think, for the pilot, there's a lot to kind of be said, and she did a great job.
I like how it felt very robotic at the beginning, you know, or like a lawyer, like, these are the facts, and this is what's happening, and this is your television program documenting it. Like it was a documentary, and then all of a sudden, here's a love story.
It's so funny because some people who are watching this may have watched the show online. The pilot episode was available before tonight's premiere, and when I first heard that intro, that very like mechanical voice, I was actually concerned because it reminded me of 500 Days of Summer, and I love that movie, but I didn't want a TV show that was exactly like that movie. I was like, I'll just watch the movie. What's the point? And then as we got into it, there's definitely things that are comparable, but it is not that story. It is not 300, 500
Very
days.
different style.
Yeah.
I mean, and one's a movie and one's TV.
Yeah, and they have
Apples and oranges.
Exactly. So true. So that excited me, but I did have that moment of just like, oh, what is this going to be? Is this going to be too similar? Like, are they trying to do a direct copy? And I didn't feel that by the end of the pilot. So hopefully others agree.
So after Andrew and Zelda meet, he adds her on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I loved that because we've all had that. This is it's a real thing now. When you meet somebody and you start dating them, it's an honest thought. When should I add them on Facebook?
I've had that conversation like at a girls' night. Like, should I add him yet? And it's a whole debate about when is the proper time. I feel like this show could.
He didn't wait.
Yeah.
He did it right away.
When I met my boyfriend, I waited until after the third date to add him on Facebook. And so people now have discussions about when you should sleep with somebody, how many dates in, and when you should add somebody on Facebook. And I feel like sometimes they intertwine. But it's such a real, I mean, Facebook is like our public diary now. And that could be very tumultuous with dating. And the fact that he works on a dating website just adds to this, like, our lives are so viral, you're bearing your soul. And then when you add someone who you're interested in, you want them to learn about you bit by bit. You don't want all of it out there right away. It might scare them off, kind of like how he put it all out there, really chasing her down about this silver dress, and it kind of scared her off a little bit.
I mean, it did, and then she came back around to it. But I do have to say that this is a show where I feel like you could go into it being half about the show and half, like, our after show could be half dating advice. Like,
exactly.
I know,
this is
right?
what it's look at me. I'm like, this is Facebook and dates. And
yeah, exactly.
Getting preachy.
But no, I completely agree. I also loved that he talks about, like, the algorithm of the dating site and how guys don't care if the girl's college educated, and I think the other half of that is that girls probably do care that the guy is college educated. And I just love that because that's something that's so talked about in our, in our culture, like the differences between guys and girls, and even the when to text. I feel like girls have a different answer to that than guys do. Like, guys are like, oh, whenever, like, it's fine, and girls are much more like,
we sweat it so much. Like, if we text someone and we don't get a response within 5 minutes, we're like, oh my god, did I say something? It's not like me. Oh my god, oh my god.
Yeah.
And we read emotion into text messages, and it seems like men don't as much. But
I know.
To get back to the show, this actually relates perfectly. He uses an emoji to ask her to drinks. It was like a drink, drink tonight, and I was just like, I don't think a girl would ever do that. Like I feel like they would just be drinks. Like, maybe let's go to drinks.
Smiley face. Maybe.
But hey, the emoticon's there. Might as well just use it, right?
Right.
I mean,
so
And then she went back, she put like a thumbs up, and she was like, why not?
Yeah, exactly. Let's do this. But so they go to drinks, and he goes way overboard. We talked about it a little bit earlier. So
what not to do on a date.
so over the top. There's something kind of, maybe I'm crazy and tweet at me if you think I am, but there was something a little sweet about it. It did go over the line. There was a line where you were just like, oh, maybe not that. But when he was first like, oh, you were the girl in the silver dress, and I was just like, oh, happily ever after, so cute. But maybe I feel like you disagreed.
You never. Well, first of all, they both did a few faux pas, in my opinion. Don't mention an ex.
Yeah.
On a date.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That is 100%
I mean, she could have told the story without saying she was there with her ex-boyfriend. She could have just been like, I was at this concert that I hated.
Yeah.
But anyways, and then also, why are you mentioning you saw your future and the kids? If he knew telling that story, he thought it was her, wouldn't he have been like, maybe I should just say I thought it was her and she caught my eye, not I also imagined our life together? Because I think we would all be a little weirded out if you heard that.
I agree. Again, it's that line. It was like very sweet at first. It was like the girl in the silver dress. I remember you. All of that I thought was very charming. And then it kind of crossed into this line of like, oh nope, creepy. There's
yeah, but that is his character, as we're starting to realize.
Yes. Yeah.
So it makes sense for him.
Yeah.
He has that word vomit.
Yeah, I mean,
he does.
Not to go back again to How I Met Your Mother, but Ted Mosby, I think it was in the pilot, he tells Robin he's in love with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Big no-no.
Yeah, I mean, just like full on and gets her the, trumpet.
Trumpet.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a French horn.
Interesting.
Maybe
It's a blue
like
French
a blue
horn.
French
Yeah.
horn.
Like, what's the difference?
Maybe all you...
Man, we're totally turning this into a
Right?
comparison
Okay,
of How I Met Your Mother. But I mean, How I Met Your Mother is done. It's time for TV to have a new show like that, and I think How I Met Your Mother is still fresh on our minds. Because
Yeah,
before
that's
How
why.
I Met Your Mother, there was Friends and
Yeah, I mean, there's always that show with a group of friends that is. I mean, before that you had Cheers. I just almost blanked on it, but Cheers was like that group of friends. They're in different places, and this is kind of workplace comedy meets that same Friends formula.
Yep, Friends, Cheers, How I Met Your Mother, Seinfeld.
Yeah, I mean,
Friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Friends again, Friends and more
show.
Friends.
Yeah, so it's just like it is something that typically works in TV.
Yeah.
I do like that they're putting a fresh spin on it with making it, technology and kind of the way that we all, because for a long time, if you can even imagine this, Friends, they didn't use cell phones, which is a crazy thing to think about, that was so long ago that like cell phones were not a part of Friends, and this is all about the Twitter and texting and all of that, so it's exciting to kind of see that update.
Very relatable, for sure.
New stuff.
That being said, let's hop to this end of this episode and kind of get to this moment of her realizing, so maybe not quite to the end, I should back up a little and say that, so she kind of pushes him away, and then we see him go and try to do research online, which is something, like, again, we all shouldn't do, but we've all been there.
We've totally done it.
Facebook stalks, yeah, but he gets his friends to do it, which is a whole another level of creepy.
Too far.
And they confront him about it in front of her, which is just stop. I just wanted to yell stop again at
It
the
was like
TV.
a full report with pictures, what night she went, what was she wearing. Like, wow, if I was there, I'd be like, what the hell?
Too much.
Yeah, way, way, way over the top, for sure. But then she realizes that she made a mistake, or that that he wasn't so bad after all. And we see him, she gets this phone call, or she calls him, I should say, and kind of says like, oh, I think actually I was the girl in the silver dress, and realizes that she, should give him another try, but he shuts off the lights in his office, and you think, at least I thought for a minute, like, oh, are we leaving it here in the pilot? This is a tragic way to end it, but okay. And then we get this big romantic comedy kiss in front of the fountains.
Of course.
Really?
It's always the water. It's always a fountain.
Yeah, I mean,
Very cute.
What is a romantic comedy kiss without a fountain?
Exactly. Exactly.
That's so true.
Yeah.
It was great though. It was her being vulnerable, and they switched roles. She's suddenly rambling, and apologizing and being the weirdo because she knew all along that it was her, and she couldn't own up to it. And she even said, "I could use a little meant to be," and then, bam, the kiss. Yeah. It was adorable. Loved it.
Yeah, the minute she realized it when she was talking to Steffi, and they were like, "I never had a guy try for me that hard," and she was like, "Oh my God, neither did I. I never had a guy try for me." So she probably was like, "You know what? I want love. Like, this is probably, I want to be treated right." So that's probably his realization. And then she was like, "I'm gonna go for it."
I also love the fact, to compare it to another show, The Mindy Project. It's a great show, but I feel like the season finale last year, it was a big romantic kind of show, and people want more of that, and they jumped right in and kind of gave that to you in the first episode, so that was exciting to me as well. I'm really excited for the show, actually.
It's different. Like, we've never had a show where we know that from the first episode they're together, and it really makes us wonder, like, what is gonna happen,
I'm also curious what the obstacles are going to be, because
the obstacles,
it's not going to go. You can't have a show that 100% of the time they're lovey-dovey and happy. That's just not a way TV works. So you're going to have those ups and downs. It's going to be a roller coaster, for sure. We should also mention a quick shout out to Rashida Jones, who is an executive producer of this from The Office, of course.
I don't know about you guys, but as soon as I saw that she was producing the show, I was like, oh, I'll watch it just because of her.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't even have to watch a trailer.
Great. I mean, Mindy Project, a lot of Office alums moving on to other shows, which is exciting to see as well.
Very true.
So that being said, want to jump into some news and gossip?
Yes, we do.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So, Christine Milioti has been doing tons of press interviews this week, and one was with Vulture.com, and she mentions it's definitely an interview to check out because she talks all about How I Met Your Mother and her feelings on the ending and all of that. So if you're into that show, and we've been comparing it all night, definitely an interview to check out. But that being said, she also does talk about this new program, and she says that exactly what we've been talking about, that technology is such a huge part of the show, and that she's never seen a show quite do this quite like that. And she says, like, what is it, that I feel like we can easily track someone, and how easily you can Google someone, exactly what we're talking about. I actually think about how none of that matters, that you're meant to be with the person you're meant to be with. And so,
Kristen Milioti, it's adorable,
right? And it just made me love it. And she talks about also that she really enjoys the romantic comedy genre because this is obviously her second big one, and that she hopes they kind of continue and flourish. And I feel like right now we're kind of seeing that with Manhattan Love Story is another one I'm sure we'll be comparing the show to as well.
Marry Me.
I feel like every network has one, and so, it'll be an interesting season of seeing which one survives and how they all work, and maybe all three can. I don't really know. Yeah, it's
definitely the trend right now, rom-coms.
Yeah.
So we'll see how they work out.
I'm not mad about that.
No,
neither am I.
I will watch any rom-com. It's kind of sad and awesome all at the same time.
We're not alone. I know that's for sure.
Exactly. If every network's making one, that something's working. Are you ready for predictions?
Yes, we are.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
I know. Halloween.
So, I want to go. Are you guys ready to go big with these predictions? Do you want to? I always think it's fun to kind of start somewhere, and we obviously can change them, but do you want to go with where, in the end, these characters are going to be?
Like the very end, like the Z?
The Z. Yeah. I want to know where they're going to be in 8 months.
I assumed, watching the show, that it would be at the end of the 8 months they break up. But after what you said at the beginning, how it could be anything, that made me think, I think it's going to end where they get married and or engaged. There's some sort of, they're still together but not dating.
Okay.
This is hard. This is tough.
It's very hard.
Because I want them to be together. They have amazing chemistry. It would be so sad if they weren't. I feel like they're going to get married. Then they're going to get a divorce. I know I have to be realistic, though.
It's true.
But then...
What do you think?
Then they got married again.
Ooh.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with
And they had a kid. 2 kids.
Ooh. I'm liking, that's a bold prediction.
Yeah, I like that.
I think I'm gonna go just to like put it out there and something, they're gonna elope at the end.
Ooh, yeah.
Hello.
I like that.
Yeah, at the end of this time.
At the Z.
At
And
the
I
Z.
think their parents are going to meet. Because they keep mentioning the parents.
Yeah.
The mom was a
mention their
hippie,
upbringing.
and then Andrew's parents were in love, something. Maybe something.
Could they have already met? Could the parents have already met
Then
in
that's
some way?
Now we're
a
getting
point.
weird.
That could be in the next
They're both
few
siblings.
episodes.
Sorry, that was weird.
So creepy and amazing.
know,
What a
so
way to
crazy.
end.
I know.
All right. Well, thank you so much for watching, and be sure to come back next week and hang out with us. You can find AfterBuzz on Twitter at AfterBuzz TV, and you can find me at Stephanie Wenger.
You can find me at Kanika Lal on Twitter and Instagram.
And tweet at me and Instagram me. I'm at the Kylie Hodges.
See you next week, everyone.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.